Welcome to Le Podcast de Philippe. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into how Switzerland is preparing for a future that is, well, going to be shaped by AI and autonomous vehicles.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating topic, and there's so much going on in Switzerland, particularly right now.
Absolutely. And there's so many questions that come up, you know, what specific regulations are being put in place, what opportunities and concerns arise from these technologies.
Right, and how is it going to impact daily life for the people who live there? I mean,
That's really what we want to get at. What does all of this mean for you? So today we'll try to examine those questions by diving into Switzerland's evolving approach to these groundbreaking advancements.
yeah, and one of the really big things that is happening in Switzerland is that they're taking the lead in Europe by becoming the first country to allow self-driving vehicles on their roads,
And that starts very soon,
starting March 1st, 2025.
which is remarkable. That's right, but it's not quite the free-for-all that you might imagine. This rollout is coming with careful guidelines.
Exactly. It's not just going to be like, okay, go out there and let the robots drive. It's going to be much more measured than that. They're going to be focusing on designated stretches of road, primarily highways where autopilot functions can be utilized.
And these roads are chosen very specifically.
They're chosen by the cantons. And one thing I find very interesting is that human drivers will still be required in these vehicles.
Oh, so it's not completely hands-free just yet.
Not completely hands-free, that's right. And there will also be operators who are remotely monitoring these vehicles who can intervene if necessary.
So it sounds like a very carefully planned and measured approach.
Yeah, and I think you can see that in the applications that they're going to be focusing on initially, things like goods transportation.
That makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. Using autonomous vehicles to help optimize delivery routes and reduce congestion.
Right.
Perhaps we'll see driverless shuttles connecting people from train stations to their homes, solving that last mile problem in passenger transport.
Oh, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Because Switzerland is already renowned for their very efficient transportation systems. It's fascinating to see how they're thoughtfully integrating these new technologies. It highlights their commitment to progress while addressing potential concerns.
Right. And speaking of concerns, let's discuss the ethical and societal implications of all of this. This is where Switzerland's proactive approach to AI regulation really comes into play.
Yeah. The government is aiming to propose AI regulations this year. And a big focus of this is to minimize risks. They're really looking at addressing potential issues like discrimination and surveillance.
Right. It's all about making sure that AI development aligns with Swiss values and benefits society as a whole.
Exactly. And that's a real balancing act.
It is a balancing act between fostering innovation and ensuring responsible development. And Switzerland is making significant investments to secure its place as a leader in this space, particularly with the Swiss AI initiative.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. This is a collaboration between EPFL and ETH Zurich, and it's a significant step towards establishing Switzerland as a global leader in AI development. And they're focusing on creating large language models. But importantly, these large language models meet not just legal and scientific, but ethical standards as well.
And this initiative aligns perfectly with the government's Digital Strategy 2025, which really prioritizes AI, cybersecurity, and the promotion of open source technologies. So you can really see that they're building a comprehensive strategy to navigate the digital landscape.
Absolutely. And it all seems very well thought out and planned. But what does this actually mean for everyday people living in Switzerland?
Well, research suggests that half of the Swiss population has already used AI in some form.
So it's already integrated into daily life.
It is, but this does raise questions about the digital divide. Will everyone have equal access to these technologies? Will everyone have the knowledge to utilize them effectively?
Really important questions, and we're going to continue to dive into those questions in just a moment.
So we've talked about AI regulation and the rise of autonomous vehicles in Switzerland, but I think it's important to really look at how these advancements are going to reshape various sectors of the Swiss economy.
Right, starting with, I would imagine, the transportation and logistics industries.
Oh, absolutely. It's not hard to imagine the impact that autonomous vehicles could have managing a large portion of goods transportation.
Leading to increased efficiency and even potentially reducing carbon emissions.
And those efficiencies could translate to lower costs for businesses. It could mean lower costs for consumers as well. But of course, there's another side to this coin.
You're talking about job displacement.
Right. As these technologies start to take on more tasks, what happens to the people who are currently employed in those sectors?
A question that a lot of people are asking.
Absolutely. And I think it's why Switzerland really needs to invest in retraining programs, equipping their workforce with skills that are relevant to a future where AI and automation are commonplace.
What sorts of skills are we talking about here?
Well, data analysis is going to be huge, obviously AI development, or even just specializing in the maintenance and operation of these autonomous systems.
So it's not just about embracing new technology, it's about preparing people for the shifts that it brings.
Exactly.
Now, what other sectors might be significantly impacted?
Oh, well, healthcare, I think, is another sector that is ripe for disruption.
In what ways?
Well, imagine AI-powered diagnostic tools, tools that can analyze medical images with incredible accuracy, or even assisting surgeons in very complex procedures.
It's really remarkable to think about what that could mean for healthcare.
It could revolutionize healthcare. You could see better outcomes for patients, potentially relieve some of the strain on healthcare systems.
Those are very exciting possibilities.
Yeah.
But I think we also need to talk about the potential risks. We've touched upon algorithmic bias and discrimination.
Yeah, how are these concerns being addressed in Switzerland's approach to AI development?
It's a great question, and it seems to be a top priority for them. They are emphasizing the development of ethical and transparent AI systems,
Which means?
which means establishing very clear guidelines for data collection and algorithm design.
So fairness is sort of built into these systems from the ground up.
That's the goal. So it's more than just about the technology itself. It's about the people and values that are guiding its development.
I think that's a great way to put it. And it seems like Switzerland is really taking a balanced approach, fostering innovation while also safeguarding fundamental rights.
Absolutely. And I think building trust is paramount when we're talking about widespread adoption of any AI.
Right. If people don't trust these systems, they're not going to embrace them. So transparency and accountability are going to be essential.
People need to understand how decisions are being made and feel confident that their rights are being protected. It's interesting to think about how the Swiss people themselves feel about these advancements.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, research suggests that a significant portion of the population has already interacted with AI in some form, which suggests a certain level of comfort and acceptance. But there is also awareness of the potential risks.
So it's a bit of a mix of excitement and caution.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to put it. It's a complex landscape, and there's a lot at stake.
There is. What do you see as some of the biggest challenges facing Switzerland as it navigates this new frontier?
I think inclusivity is crucial. As these technologies advance, we really need to make sure that everyone benefits, not just a select few.
So bridging the digital divide is going to be vital.
It's going to be essential, providing access to education and training, creating a supportive environment for everyone.
Creating a future where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. I imagine another challenge is going to be staying ahead of the curve. Technology is constantly evolving. How does Switzerland plan to keep pace?
Yeah, I think one of the potential pitfalls and something we have to be very mindful of is the potential for increased inequality.
Yeah.
If the benefits of AI and automation aren't distributed equitably, we could see a widening of the gap.
Between those who have access to these technologies and those who don't.
Exactly. And, it's not just about economic inequality.
It's about making sure everyone has a voice in shaping this technological future.
Absolutely. And I think it's going to be crucial to involve diverse perspectives in the development and deployment of these technologies. We really have to consider the ethical implications, the impact it could have on social structures, and the long-term consequences for society as a whole.
Switzerland is in a really interesting position. Their advancements in AI and autonomous vehicles, they're really positioning themselves uniquely on the world stage. How can they leverage this expertise and this experience to contribute to a responsible global approach?
Well, I think Switzerland has a long-standing reputation for neutrality and international collaboration.
Right.
And they're well-positioned to be a bridge builder, fostering dialogue and cooperation on these issues.
They could serve as a model for other countries,
They could, sharing their best practices and regulatory frameworks.
helping to shape a global approach to AI and autonomous vehicles that is both innovative and responsible.
Absolutely. And, being home to numerous international organizations, the UN office at Geneva, this provides a platform for engaging in global discussions and influencing international policies related to AI and emerging technologies.
So they have a real opportunity to shape the conversation.
They do.
Looking at everything that we've discussed today, what's your overall assessment of Switzerland's approach to this transformation?
I'm really impressed by their thoughtful and balanced approach. They seem to be embracing the possibilities while also acknowledging the potential risks. They're investing in research and development, they're putting regulatory frameworks in place, they're engaging in open dialogue with various stakeholders. It's a dynamic process that requires constant adaptation and reevaluation, but they seem committed to harnessing these technologies for good.
It's fascinating to see how Switzerland is shaping its future in this age of rapid technological advancement. And it'll be really interesting to see how these developments unfold in the coming years.
It certainly will. And for our listeners, we'll leave you with this thought. As AI and autonomous vehicles become more integrated into our lives, how can we ensure that they enhance our humanity, our creativity, and our connections to each other? This is a question worth reflecting on as we navigate this exciting new era.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Switzerland's approach to AI and autonomous vehicles. We hope you found it insightful and engaging. Be sure to subscribe to Le Podcast de Philippe on YouTube and like the video for more deep dives on fascinating topics. Until next time.